And I'm Stephen, and I'm in Hong Kong, which is the theme of our show this week. I want to take you on and off the beaten track of Hong Kong. Now, Annita, I know you visited Hong Kong a few times. What would your top one place to visit in Hong Kong be?
Oh, well, you're right. I have been to Hong Kong several times during my Pan Am career, and lots of times with you, actually. So I can count.
That's right.
Yeah, some of those times that I've been there. But let me think about that, because that's a really good question, because there's so many things that I love about Hong Kong. Actually, it's one of my favorite cities in the whole world. When people ask me what's my favorite city, usually Hong Kong pops into my mind. So let's see, let me think now, because there's so many things. I would say the Peak Tram, maybe, because it's such a beautiful view and such a unique experience going up to the peak. So I would say that's a highlight for sure.
Well, you should win a prize, because my number one tourist hotspot that I'll be recommending for Hong Kong is the Peak Tram. So more about that in the moment. But I'm going to give you the top 5 tourist hotspots, including the Peak Tram, but also the top 5 off the beaten track places in Hong Kong that you might not think. Now, I'm sure all of you associate Hong Kong with a city skyline, which is Annita's virtual background. But how many of you know about the amazing countryside and beaches, which is my background? This is a beach in Hong Kong, and all will be revealed as I give you my top 5. But yeah, as Annita says, we've spent lots of fun times in Hong Kong. So many funny memories. What was the funniest memory you have of us in Hong Kong?
Well, you're really putting me on the spot today. Let's see, because again, there's so many, and some that, as we mentioned on an earlier show, there's some things that we can share after people really get to know us a little better. So let me think for a second. I would say the karaoke. Remember that night we went to the karaoke bar? That is probably the funniest, because we were singing, and I think if someone had like a cane or a stick or something to kind of a broom to sweep us off the stage, they probably would have. Because I don't think our karaoke was that great. But it was a whole lot of fun. And we sang Girls Just Want to Have Fun. I mean, how hard is that song? Because all you're saying is Girls Just Want to Have Fun. So.
I know, and we put our heart and passion in it, but I don't know whether the audience appreciated it. I do remember a couple of boos. We were enjoying ourselves so much, though, I think they had to encourage us to leave the stage.
Yeah, I think we were enjoying it so much that we didn't realize that people were booing us and trying to get us off the stage. But that's probably the funniest. But we have so many.
Yeah. It was certainly a funny moment. So if you get a chance to go to a karaoke bar in Hong Kong, it's a lot of fun. But let's start off with my top 5 tourist hotspots. And as I mentioned, number 1 is the Peak Tram. If you only stay in Hong Kong for one night, maybe you're breaking your journey as part of a longer trip, or maybe you're in Hong Kong on business and you only have a few hours, pop to Peak Tram. It doesn't take very long. It's right in the city, actually. And the tram is 45 degrees or more up a hill. So that's part of the experience. And then you get to the top and there's restaurants, there's shops, there's amazing views. One of my kind of insider tips, if you like, is to get 2 for the price of 1. Get the daytime view and the nighttime view. By going up late afternoon, having a look around, getting some great Insta-worthy pictures, selfies maybe with the view, then have something to eat, do a bit of shopping, and then see the nighttime view, which is equally as amazing as well. Also, if you're really keen, you could hike up the hill or down the hill and take the train the other way. So they're my insider tips for visiting the Peak Tram.
Well, you bring up a good point too about, getting both views in, because the night view for me is just spectacular. I mean, it's very similar to what you see behind me. I mean, it's just so beautiful to see the skyline of Hong Kong, and you really can when you're up there.
Yes, it really glitters at night with all the different colors. And in fact, there is a light show at 8 p.m. And my second tourist hotspot tip is to take the Star Ferry. So the Star Ferry goes from Central in the island to Kowloon, or of course you can take it the other way. So take it around about 8 p.m. and enjoy the light show. It's incredibly cheap. I think it's about the equivalent of 60 US cents, about 3 Hong Kong dollars. And it's a public ferry with people commuting, so you get the atmosphere of the locals on the ferry commuting, and then there's a few tourists sprinkled in. So quite a lot of atmosphere.
Yeah, I love that. That's just a must do. And like you said, you just ride it over and back, even if you're not going to do anything. It's, this is one of those times when the whole journey, is all about what you're doing. It's not a destination you're going to. It's all about the journey.
Yes, absolutely. Just go and come back. If you've got like a half hour spare, you could probably do it in half an hour. If you have got time though, and you're staying on the central side, the Kowloon side is well worth a visit. There's a new shopping mall that also doubles up as an art museum called K11 that's very close to the ferry terminal. So there's another insider tip. But my big insider tip to make your trip a lot less stressful is to get one of these. Whoops, let's put it there so you can see it. An octopus card. I think most cities have something similar,
Yeah.
but Hong Kong, to ride public transport, you need an octopus card.
Mm-hmm.
So you get this from an MTR, that's what we call our underground train stations. I've got one just over there. And they'll charge it up. And then once it's empty, you can charge it up actually in any 7-Eleven. And you can actually use it to buy your shopping in 7-Eleven. And anyone that knows Hong Kong will know that you're never far from one of those convenience stores. They're almost on every corner.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. And then when you're on the train or on the ferry, you just tap and go.
That's very convenient, and that's really a good tip. It sounds like to me that's one of your first stops is to get that octopus card when you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Not sure whether you can get it at the airport, but certainly if you take the Airport Express, which is really efficient from Hong Kong Airport into the centre or Kowloon, you will arrive at an MTR station, so you can buy it then.
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah, but get it early, and it will save you a lot of stress.
Absolutely, that's a good tip.
Ready for number 3?
Yeah. What you got?
Well, number 3 is Ocean Park. Have you ever heard of Ocean Park before, Annita?
I've heard of it, but all the times that I've been to Hong Kong, I've never been. So I'm interested to hear what makes that your third, because that's pretty high on the list. Number 3.
Absolutely. Well, it's an amazing day out, particularly if you're a family with younger or even older children, because it's an amusement park. Has some fabulous roller coasters, and I wouldn't normally recommend it, but the great thing about it is it's in a place in Hong Kong where you get fabulous views. And the whole experience, because the amusement park's on 2 levels, and there's a cable car that takes you from one level to the other, or you can take a train that goes through the mountain. And so there's incredible roller coasters there, like the corkscrew roller coasters, all the way through to carousels, teacups for the more faint-hearted of us. So a great day out. There's an aquarium, there's red pandas there. So it's a very Hong Kong-themed theme park. Highly recommended.
Well, how does it compare to Disneyland? I mean, that's a big attraction too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving an insider tip on each. My insider tip really is go to Ocean Park rather than Disney if you don't have the time. The Disney in Hong Kong is known to be quite small. It's still magical like any Disney in the world, but you could be in any Disney in the world. So if you've got limited time, I would put Ocean Park ahead of Disney.
Yeah, get the local feel there. I like that.
Yeah. So number 4. Well, for number 4, I know it's one of your very favorite places, Annita. So I'm going to hand over to you to tell us about Stanley Market.
Oh, that's your number 4? Okay.
That's the number 4.
Yes. Well, I can definitely take the wheel on that one. I love Stanley Market because Stanley Market is just that. It's a market, and you can buy a little bit of everything. And I tell you, Stephen, one of the things that I love about it is actually the trip up there, because it's not right downtown. So you take the bus there, or you can take a cab, but we've taken the bus each time we've gone, I believe. I don't think we've ever taken a taxi or anything like that. So the journey, again, to Stanley Market is a lot of fun. But what's neat about Stanley Market is it is definitely your place for buying souvenirs. I love everything from like the little linen things that you can buy that are like tablecloths or handkerchiefs, or little, kind of old school kind of things like that too, that are embroidered, but just feel like Hong Kong, because you're not going to find them, any other place. And then I also like some of the clothing that you can buy there. That's really unique to Hong Kong. So I say definitely make Stanley Market high on your list. And it's not only shopping. There's some great restaurants and things there in case you get a little hungry and need something to drink. But Stanley Market, I give like 4 or 5 thumbs up because it's just a unique experience, just walking around and being in that whole atmosphere. Because it's kind of like no place else.
That's a lot of thumbs up, Annita. I know it is one of your favorite places. And you've even given away my insider tip, because my insider tip is to take the bus to get to Stanley Market, sit on the top deck. And it's quite exciting because it's a mountain road, so you're kind of near the edge of the mountain, but you get a fabulous view. And the other tip is to stop off at Repulse Bay. This is my background, Repulse Bay, which is a beach, and have lunch there on the beach. Be with all the Hong Kong locals, enjoying the sunshine and the sea. Have a paddle if you like. One recommendation though is Stanley Market closes, I think, around 5 p.m. So you might want to do Stanley Market first and then stop off at Repulse Bay on your way back.
Now, the last time I was in Hong Kong, I was there during a really bad thunderstorm, and the whole area flooded. So we had to wait to get back down. I don't think that happens that often because everyone was really shocked and surprised, but it just meant I had to stay at Stanley Market longer.
Do a bit more shopping. I remember being there actually with you, visiting lots of shops as you were comparing lots of different pashminas.
Yes, pashminas. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really great place to get pashminas. And when I say in every color possible, and the quality too. I mean, some of them are thicker, some are thinner, so you can just find lots of souvenirs there. Definitely.
Yeah.
For everybody. Also too, cashmere sweaters. We purchased some of those there. We purchased some kind of knockoff designer handbags. It's probably not a good thing this year, but sometimes you can find some of those there too.
Yeah. So a great place to visit for souvenirs and gift shopping. I almost guarantee you will get any gifts that you need from Stanley Market. Much better than any of the other markets in Hong Kong. I find markets like the ladies market and the nighttime market, there's lots of stores with very similar things like electrical things, things that aren't really as good for gifts and souvenirs as Stanley, where almost every shop has different stuff.
Yeah, can't go wrong. And you also can get gifts for yourself. I keep saying souvenirs, but
yes.
I've also gotten a couple of gifts for Annita.
Treat yourself. Anyway, we could talk for like a half-hour show, it sounds like, on Stanley Market, but let's go to number 5, which is the Golden Buddha in Lantau. And part of that experience is taking the 360 cable car to see the Golden Buddha. If not, it's a long hike. Some people do it, but I love sitting on the cable car actually and looking down at the people hiking and thinking, oh, I'm so glad I'm in a cable car. So much better.
I don't know about that hike, but it does sound fun, though.
Yes, yes. So you've never been then, Annita?
No, I haven't been. I don't know either. But
it's on Lantau, so it's on the same island as the airport and Disneyland, actually. But it's pretty easy to get to. You take the MTR and then jump onto the cable car. Although I don't think Annita would jump straight away on the cable car, because there is also a factory outlet mall at that MTR station, the biggest one in Hong Kong, and it's called Outlet Mall 360.
Oh, I love that. Outlet as in designer things, or?
As in factory outlet shops.
Yeah,
so Ralph Lauren, Nike, the whole range.
Oh, yeah. Top of the list for the shop.
So I think we could almost reverse my list for Annita. I think the Outlet Mall and Stanley Market would be the 1 and 2, but the rest would probably be pretty similar.
Well, like I said earlier on, I mean, when you ask what's my favorite, it kind of stalls me for a moment because there's so many things I love about Hong Kong. So the list will probably kind of, get remixed all the time.
Yeah. And I've visited Hong Kong many times, a lot of times with Annita, and now lived here for 2.5 years. But I've only really got to know it in the last 6 months because of the lockdown and not being able to travel anywhere. Because I travel extensively for my job. So I've suddenly had 6 months in one country, which is almost unheard of. And I've found some incredible things here. So, but just before I go on to my 5 off the beaten track, Anita, what do you think I've missed from my top 5 tourist hotspots?
Hmm. Oh, you didn't mention the peninsula for our tea.
No, I didn't.
Tea. That's definitely a must. We tried that once, but we were not properly attired. So,
Yes,
snow at the door. But you,
I was wearing sandals, I remember.
yeah, no open-toed shoes.
Yes, so they have a very strict dress policy, so check that before you go, because Anita and I didn't actually get it.
We have to look around. But I would love
Yes,
to do that. So now that I know the dress code, I'll be ready for the next one. So you do have to wear jackets and closed-toe shoes. So, but just check it out. I would also look to make a reservation there as well. But definitely afternoon tea at the peninsula. Yeah, you want to do that.
okay, well, we'll add that to the list as number 6.
Okay.
But, but now let's go off the beaten track, have a bit of an adventure, a bit of an exploration, and see what's on my list. And number 1 is Happy Valley Racecourse.
Yeah.
So there is a huge racecourse in central Hong Kong, in the middle of the city, near Causeway Bay. It must have hundreds of thousands capacity. It certainly seems that big. And on a Wednesday evening, you can go in for just 10 Hong Kong dollars, which is about $1, using your Octopus card, of course, tap and go in, and join thousands of other Hong Kong locals who are just going there to have a lot of fun, maybe gamble a bit on the horses, buy some hot dogs, listen to the music, and experience the electric atmosphere.
Yeah.
And definitely have a little gamble. Don't have to gamble much, but it's a lot of fun, even if it's just a little bit. They have lots of kiosks there where they take your money. It is a bit complicated. They have these pieces of paper. You have to write the numbers of the horses that you want to gamble on, but they'll help you. They're very friendly, and so they'll help you put your money on the right horse, on the right race. And then my insider tip is take the elevator to the sixth floor, where there's a bar and a balcony with an incredible view, and it's kind of away from the crowds as well.
And can you watch the race from there?
Yes, you can see the whole race course going around.
Oh, yeah.
And cheer your horse.
That's a great tip. Absolutely.
So we're definitely taking you there on your next visit.
Sounds good. I'm making a list over here.
Okay, so number 2 is 2 beaches I want to recommend. Repulse Bay is a very big, busy, touristy beach. But if you want to go off the beaten track, there's Sheko and Big Wave beaches. They're kind of at the eastern end of Hong Kong Island. You can take an MTR and then a bus to either Sheko or Sheko or Big Wave. And then between the two is a hike called Dragon's Back. It's a moderate hike, so maybe not something to do as your first ever hike, but you get some beautiful views. And of course, you get from one beach to the other. But make sure you pack plenty of cold water if it's a hot day, but be ready for some stunning views.
Bring your camera. Sounds like an
Yeah.
Instagram moment.
Do you like hiking, Annita?
Yeah, I didn't like hiking. I enjoy that. Not too strenuous though, but yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I think you'd be all right on Dragon's Back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, number 3 is the Genuine Lama Hilton Hotel Seafood Restaurant. And that's in an island called Lama, well worth a visit. I recommend you go to Yung Shao Wan and have a walk around there. Very kind of hippie-ish feel around there. Lots of little shops, boutiques, cafes, restaurants. A lot of expats live there actually and just take the ferry to work every day. So a very pretty little place. Then you can walk from one side of the island to the other. That's more of a walk than a hike, although it is elevated in places, so expect some slopes and steps. And then when you get to the other side, you can go to the Genuine Lama Hilton. And it's a seafood restaurant, and there's a pier, and the tables are on the pier, so you can sit outside. You're literally surrounded by the sea and enjoy some really good seafood.
So now it's called the Hilton, but it's not hotel with a.
No. I did try to use my Hilton on a points card and got a very strange look.
Yeah, I can see that that might be a little I don't know, misleading maybe. You would think that okay, I could go there for the restaurant, but it is a hotel. But you're saying it's just the name. It's not a Hilton hotel.
I don't think it, although it's called a genuine Hilton, and maybe, who knows, maybe it opened before the Hilton hotel chain. But anyway, just go there and enjoy the seafood.
Fair enough.
Number 4 is Sai Kung, which isn't far from where I live. I live in Chung Kwan O in Hong Kong, and I can take a taxi or bus in about 15, 20 minutes to Sai Kung. A wonderful place to visit. You can walk by the sea. All the boats are pulled up by the side of the piers and the front, selling fresh seafood that they've just caught, and fish. So very atmospheric. Lots of restaurants, seafood, of course.
Yeah.
There is a beach in Sai Kung. Probably not the best beach in Hong Kong, but there is a beach. Lots of shops. A little cafe called the Panda Cafe that I always include on a visit to Sai Kung because it's like no other cafe you've experienced. It's full of brick and bracken, nicks and knacks, record players, CD, board games, action figures.
Oh, wow.
The cafe is absolutely heaving. You can just kind of sit in and sit down and order a coffee with all these things that I just think must be a nightmare to dust.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to.
So that's the Panda Cafe in Sai Kung. Also, you can take speedboats to different islands and other places from Sai Kung, which is very exciting. My recommendation is to go to Ham Tin, which is my favorite beach in Hong Kong. Beautiful, not very crowded, nice sand, warm water, gradual slope, one of the cleanest beaches in Hong Kong and cleanest to see as well. The speedboat is part of the adventure because it is a bit up and down. Take your seasickness pills if you need them. It's about half an hour, so that day you can see it is off the beaten track. But although it is off the beaten track, there are actually 2 restaurants there, so you won't starve. Very nice place to take a day. So that's Ham Tin. Probably about 300 Hong Kong dollars for a return trip on the speedboat.
Wow. That sounds fun. I like that idea.
It's a lot of fun. How are we going to fit everything in on your next visit, Anita? There's a few things we want you to do.
I'll just stay long enough to get it all in. I'll just,
That's it.
yeah, I'll stay until the list is completely checked.
You'll need a flexible ticket.
Yes.
Yeah, and I haven't even got to what I think is going to be one of the most exciting things for you, which is number 5, factory shops. Now, I've mentioned one already, but there's another one called Horizon Plaza, which is actually on Hong Kong Island. And it's a great place to shop and find brand names at very good prices.
Oh, wow. I'm putting that on my list too. I'll have to bring an empty suitcase the next time I come or buy a big suitcase while I'm there.
There's going to be a lot of shopping.
Yes. Well, you know that. We'll have to do a show one of these times on my shopping on some of our trips.
You know, we're in a country, half an hour spare. Anita, we'll manage to squeeze in some shopping.
Yes. We'll have to tell the story of my shopping in South Africa.
Oh, yes. Suitcases full, shipping stuff back.
Yes.
I've never seen anyone buy so much. Okay, so what have I missed from my top 5 off the beaten track in your experience?
Okay, got me. You put me on the spot again. You know what? Which is really one of my favorites, and that is the flower market. I think it's in Mongkok, the flower there. Did I say it right?
Yes, Mongkok, that's it.
Yeah. I love that flower market because you can find a little bit of everything there. But I love orchids. And I go there just to see all of the different types of orchids and just, be in that atmosphere of all of those beautiful flowers. You can buy things there, not only flowers, but I bought really beautiful pots to bring back home and repot some of my plants. So it's really a little bit of everything there. But just go for the experience because it's a huge market. And you just walk down the street and just go into all the different little shops and have a chance to see all the flowers. And if you are an orchid lover like I am, you will see a lot of different varieties that you probably haven't seen before. A little bit of everything there. So definitely,
Yeah.
you need to add that. That's the number 6 for that list as well. And that's
And
definitely being path, because I don't think most people probably think of going to a flower market unless you're like really, really, really into flowers.
But completely agree with you. That should be the number 6, if not maybe higher. It's an incredible place to visit. You can smell a lot of the flowers, see some incredible displays, and again, it's just buzzing, the atmosphere. This is one of the best things about Hong Kong, just getting in there and experiencing the atmosphere.
And it's not that far from the peninsula, right? So you could actually maybe combine that experience. Although you do have to dress up for the peninsula, so I don't know. But...
Okay. Absolutely, a 2-center flower market and high tea.
Yeah.
Well, that's my top 5, but and great to get Anita's feedback, and I'd love to get your feedback as well. What do you think I've missed off? Or if you have any questions, please get in touch with us. We've got our email down there, of course, there's the comments and chat. We'd be delighted to hear from you. And if you've got any ideas for future shows as well, please shoot them across to us.
Absolutely. We love to have the conversation with you. So want to hear what you think and what you'd like to see in the future. So you're absolutely right about that, Stephen. Great advice.
Okay.
And definitely subscribe. Hit the subscribe button.
Yes, please subscribe and like. So let's just move on to travel news now. Now, Annita, you came across something very interesting.
Yeah, I did. You know, we all love when we go to the UK, when we go to London, we see a couple of things that are just kind of iconic. And one of those things is that red phone box that is just, you know, you see it there on the side of the street and you can go in and you can make the phone call. I always think of like Superman or something coming out of like one of those phone boxes and, you know, with a big cape and going off to solve all the problems in the world. But they're definitely iconic. But now that we are, you know, we have our cell phone right in our hands. Everybody's got one of these, like the cell phone. Well, mine's not showing up, but the cell phone. So it has now made, you know, these iconic British phone boxes kind of obsolete. But not everybody's feeling that way. So what I found out is that they're now being repurposed, Stephen, into other uses. Everything from coffee shops to libraries to bars, a little bit of everything. So, and I know the British public really loves, you know, these phone boxes because it's such a representation of Britain, along with, of course, the double-decker buses and things like that.
Yeah, and as you know, I'm British, so I remember when there used to be a red telephone box on every corner. If there wasn't a red telephone box, there'd be a red post box. And then, of course, there's the red buses. There's definitely a red theme here, isn't there, on iconic British icons?
Yeah, because you guys, you know, the double-decker buses are that way as well. And I like both of those. So I'm glad the double-decker buses are still there. But, you know,
yeah, I know.
But there's no need for them to disappear. So there's some very enterprising Brits who have adopted a way to reuse those phone boxes and turn them into, as I mentioned, coffee shops, bars, art galleries, and even more. So if you're thinking, yeah, right, you know, they can do that kind of thing, but this phone box is really small, so how could they really repurpose it? So, Steve, if you don't mind, I want to share a couple of the that have been repurposed, you know, the phone boxes have been repurposed to do. So in Hempstead High Street in North London, there's a family-run coffee kiosk that may look tiny, but it packs in a lot into a small space. And that's Cape Baracco, and I may not be pronouncing that correctly, but it serves like miniature kind of little strong espresso drinks, tea, cakes, just milkshake sandwiches, a little bit of everything. And they found a way to really make it really stand out using one of those phone boxes. And
you can fit all that in a phone box. That's incredible. It must be like Doctor Who's TARDIS.
And you probably grab your little tea and your little, you know, pastry, and then you kind of sat around and chat. You know, that's the other thing too. I mean, these phone boxes are all about chatting and talking, right? So it's a great way to still bring people together, but for another purpose, and sit around and chat. So popping up in central London's Bloomsbury Square at lunchtime during the summer months is a family-run place called Spire's Salads, and it serves up fresh and healthy salads to the hungry office workers. So that's a great also idea to create like this little kiosk where people can come and get really healthy treats for lunch. So students, office workers, and everyone, passerbys, visitors can all enjoy that too over in Bloomsbury Square Gardens. So those are just two of the things that they're being repurposed as. But there's also art galleries that have been created. Also libraries where you check out a book and you are just on the honor system to make sure you bring it back. So all kinds of things that they're being repurposed as. So when you're in the UK, just look for that red phone box. It hasn't gone away. It's still there.
That's incredible, isn't it? I just got to see that coffee and cake shop in a phone box. I just don't know how they would fit everything in. But talking about food, do you miss airline meals, Annita?
There's some first class airline meals that I would say that I miss. And in particular, this is where I have to give like a plug to my former airline. Pan Am has some of the best airline meals. I mean, we cooked like the roast beef and all the meals and everything from scratch in a lot of cases. So the food was really good. So I miss those airline meals, but some of the recent ones, I don't know.
Well, in some countries now, you can buy airline meals. You might not be able to fly, so if you're missing the airline meals, you can buy them. Apparently in Turkey, Israel, Canada, Australia, or Thailand, there are opportunities to buy airline meals from the big catering companies that used to sell them to the airlines, who are having very little business and thinking about how to promote themselves. So they're selling airline meals direct to the public that you can enjoy at home, maybe as a kind of TV dinner on the sofa.
That's smart, actually. Very smart.
That's very smart. And yeah, you're right. Airline meals can be very variable. The one thing I hate about airline meals is omelets. I don't think eggs cook very well on the plane. Now, if you want something smaller, how about nuts? United Airlines are selling their nuts. Apparently the supplier, a company called GNS, was left with 30,000 pounds of nuts. That's a lot of nuts.
That is a lot of nuts.
But a lot of nuts with no home to go to.
Hey, well, I love nuts, all different types, and the first class nuts are usually pretty good.
Yes, yes.
Comes up to them as well.
Yeah, they're selling the first class nuts and the ones that they sell on the Hawaii routes, which is called the Aloha Mix, which sound delicious because that includes pineapple and pina colada pecans. How wonderful do they sound?
Where can you get those?
Well, it's from a company called Great Nuts, and we'll give you the website at the bottom in the information.
Yeah, definitely miss that one.
Yeah, and if you're really missing flying, if you're in Taiwan, you can take a flight to nowhere, which is where you check in and get on a flight and it doesn't actually go anywhere. And incredibly, 7,000 people applied for 60 seats that were available on that, a flight to nowhere.
But now, do you get a meal on that one?
That's a very good question. I don't know. That maybe, if it's a first class meal, might make the whole experience worth it.
Yeah, I would actually probably do that.
You're missing travel that much.
Well, I'm an airline geek, so love anything to do with the airlines. So just to be on the airplane again. It's been several months, so I'm getting a little kind of withdrawal feelings here. But don't tell anyone.
Anyway, so shall we finish off with my English saying of the week?
Yeah, because I'm really looking forward to these now.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the first one I think was about a donkey, the second one's about a horse, and this one's about a horse as well. So it seems that there's lots of English sayings with horses, donkey type things. And so this one is, don't put the cart before the horse. Heard of that one?
Yes, we do have that one here. I'm starting to think though, Stephen, that all of these things we have adopted from you guys.
Yeah, another proud British export. English sayings.
And you just need a good saying instead of saying it directly. So
I know.
These things.
Yeah. And it's like, business lingo. There's so many things that could just be easily said in plain English, but I think it makes us feel more important when we use a business term like, oh, yes, we're all singing off the same hymn sheet here.
Yeah, there you go. That's another one. Yeah, that's two this week.
But anyway, don't put your cart before the horse, because what I want to try and say is always watch Stephen and Annita before planning any trip.
Yeah, that ties in really well. Look at you. Yeah, hey, you're tying it all together now, too. That's great.
Trying. Well, I think that's it for this week's show.
Well, we're going to surprise folks. I would love to go somewhere tropical, maybe to the Caribbean.
Yes, that sounds good. So much choice.
Well, we have the whole world to share with our viewers and our friends out there. So lots of things to talk about.
And just to remind you again to please like and subscribe, and we'd love to hear from you. So keep in touch.
Yeah, keep in touch, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay, take care in the meantime. Bye-bye.
Bye, thanks for watching.